Hi everyone, thank you for joining the VTIC webinar today. We've got a fairly good amount of people listening in today, so thank you so much for listening in. I'll give it over to you to do a quick intro, Robert.
Okay. So, hi everyone, and welcome to VTIC webinar. I'm Robert Ratcliffe from VTIC Business Development, and I've been with them for a couple of years, and I'm sure I've come across a lot of you at some of our networking events, and look forward to catching you up soon. So, for today's webinar, we actually set out there, do you have a website or digital marketing concern that you just can't get your head around? It's just too hard. We asked you to send us your most pressing questions, which you've been amazing at. And you've done this, and we've received so many, and hopefully we can get through at least a few of them today, because it's a big topic. So just to give you a bit of background, Webfirm have been working with us. They're one of VTIC's preferred digital partners. We've been with them for a couple of years, since about 2015. And we actually are really lucky today to have two very good, resourceful senior account managers from Webfirm here today. And we've got Taran and Dan. So Taran, tell us about yourself at Webfirm.
Thanks for the nice introduction there, Robert. I'm Taran, like Robert said, one of the senior account managers. I've been here at Webfirm for 4.5 years. So I like to think I know a few things about the digital marketing space. And we've been working closely with VTIC as well. So I've probably met a few of you over the years. And yes, this is my colleague Dan. If you want to tell us a bit about yourself.
Look, I've not been with Webfirm for too long, only about 7 months for myself. But look, I've been working in digital marketing for years now, probably longer than I can really think about at the moment. We've been working predominantly in the ads and web development spaces, as well as a little bit of SEO these days is a little bit where I like to stay. Just reading a lot of data is my day-to-day, and I think that's where most of my insight comes from. And like we mentioned before, we're going to try and rip through as many of the questions as you guys have brought in. Again, thank you so much for getting them in there. Just a pre-warning, some of them are very bespoke. For those ones, we'll reach out to you individually just to have a chat about it, because look, it may not be relevant for everyone there, and they can get quite technical, I think is the right way to look at it.
So we've been able to clump a lot of the questions into common themes. So lots of you wanted to know about how to get better rankings, how to get more visibility online, how to use social media, how to get more website traffic. So hopefully we'll be able to answer a lot of those questions. And if we didn't answer your question, we'll be in touch with you later. But hopefully you'll still be able to gain some good knowledge out of what we're talking about today.
So Taran, with digital marketing, where do you start?
It's a very good question, Robert.
The age-old question.
The age-old question. Well, we're going to be answering that question, in fact, as we go along. So do you think we should crack into the slides?
And guys, just for our entertainment and your entertainment, this is our first webinar. So it's going to be fun, and we look forward to sharing this information with you. So, Taran, let's see.
Let's go for it. And it's also worth noting that as attendees, you're able to ask questions. So feel free to pipe in and type any questions as you go along. If I can answer it right now, we will. But if not, we can always check in with you later to unpack the question. So, yes, this is Webfirm. Let's just get this. There we go. So today we're going to be talking about all of your questions in a nutshell. We're going to start talking about a few recent Google trends. Google updates the algorithm multiple times weekly, but there's a few that we'd just like to talk about today. We're going to talk about some of the main questions, the main key themes that you asked us, and then we're going to wrap it up at the end. So we're aiming for around 45 minutes. Does that sound about right?
Try and burn through as much as we can.
We'll burn through as much as we can, and you'll probably feel overwhelmed, but our contact details will be there at the end for any further questions.
And guys, yes, as Taran said, you will be able to contact these guys. So for those who've actually sent questions in, Webfirm have kindly donated an hour to you to offer you some assistance with that for our VTIC members. So
give you a phone chat and just unpack your question in a bit more detail, so it's a bit more of a personalised experience.
That's right.
So just start away, Taran. What are your first points?
So first of all, we're just going to tell you who we are. So not everyone knows who we are, unfortunately, even though we want to get our name out there as much as possible. So we are a full-service digital marketing agency. We've been around since about 2001. So we know our things, and we're based here on Collins Street. And our specialties lie in kind of conversion optimized campaigns, which means we try to get as many inquiries from websites for our clients as possible. We cover search engine optimization, Google AdWords, social media marketing, email marketing.
Just about everything under the sun, really.
Anything and everything.
Hopefully we can answer some of those words.
Yes. We're a fun bunch, as you can tell from our wacky photo there. So we'll just pop into talking about a couple of the most recent and probably the most relevant updates that Google's been through.
Yeah, sure. I might kick that off with the mobile experience side of things. So the lovely image side by side there, looking at on the left, just the old image. It's probably not too great for us to see right now, but I'm sure you'll see it there.
Yeah.
And then the newer display on the right. Basically what Google's trying to do with this update is show ads in a more discrete manner. A couple of the key features that you'll notice here is that the usual green URL is now gone.
Yes, it makes it harder to tell if it's an ad or not, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Which is what they want to do. They want to make the ads more seamless.
Yeah. So it's like, I think 70-something% of their revenue, or it might even be higher, comes through just Google Ads. So it's in their best interest to obviously get us to click on it. But in addition, you'll notice that each organic listing has a nice little favicon there, which is just a little icon that we all use.
What's that?
What's a favicon?
Yeah.
Good question.
Good question. If you've got a web browser open in front of you and you've got a tab, sometimes you'll see a nice little icon referring to the image. So
normally your logo.
Yeah.
If you're a business, it's your logo that appears on the top of the tab.
Yeah.
It's just one of the very many SEO elements that you need to have ticked off to have a well-optimized site.
Yeah.
And I suppose now Google's making more use of it because it's normally just this little hidden logo at the top, and now it's actually being shown in the search results, which is quite a big thing.
Yeah, so make sure it looks good is probably the best place to start. Make sure it's the appropriate format. I think it's only 1 kilobyte file. It's a very small thing, but just make sure it's nice and crisp.
Yeah.
You should look at people like YouTube, Google, Facebook. These people do it really well. Very clean logo. Again, Webfirm obviously does it very well with that nice W. It's a very clean thing. Straight lines look really good in there as well. So that's the basics of it. The point around it again is just to try and get Google to get a little bit more revenue through those ads, but also clean up a little bit of what looks very messy. You can see that there's more information on the page now. That should result in more clicks for you guys as well.
Yeah. And the other update that we thought it might be worth mentioning is the Google Diversity update. So historically, one website was able to be shown for multiple search results. So some websites could take up 5, 6, 7 spots.
Yeah, just on one keyword. Yeah.
On one keyword. So now Google said, they've taken on the feedback that people get frustrated with that. And now they'll only show up to 2 results from the same website.
Yeah.
There's a bit of flexibility. Sometimes they'll show more if they think it's worth it.
Or it's really tailored, like only you talk about it, then
you're the only one, but
because you can actually make it specific in your search, can't you, if you're looking for that. But I mean, things like, if I'm looking for red roses to buy someone, red and roses is 2 different things. So, that's where it becomes a bit more customized.
It's also that it's quite a common word. Every florist will talk about red roses, right? And so now, instead of competing, say you have a really good SEO campaign, you took up the first 5 listings.
Yeah, someone like Interflora, like a really big brand, might dominate that keyword.
Correct.
But now it means that other people have got a better shot of being found on page 1 because Google's acknowledged not everyone wants to see 6 results for the same website for this one keyword. I suppose it means that you need to think about widening your keyword range as well, because if you're historically depending on these...
How often should businesses look at that and research their keywords?
That's a difficult question. Look, I can't say the word constantly because I think we'll all get a little bit worried there. But look, it's worth looking at least monthly just to see how each term works. Of course, at Webfirm, what we do is we consistently look at what are the trends, what are people Googling more often, and seeing if there are opportunities to fit our clients into those keywords. And so sometimes, 1 month you might have, say around February, red roses probably go mental, but then it might tailor off towards the end of the year, who knows. And what we want to try and do is capitalize on that regularly. It doesn't mean you have to only select 5 keywords to go after. You can have a huge amount of them. It just means that your focus is going to be spread.
So with the seasonality of our tourism industry, as you were saying, particular months and events are quite big. So it's probably good to actually look at what's happening on around you at the time, and then restructure your keywords according to what's happening really.
Yeah, you would know as a business what your key times of year are, and reflect the content on the site, your advertising strategy if you're going to be doing an AdWords campaign for a certain event leading up, and maximising some social media presence if you've got an event coming up. It's a good point.
Tie it all into one big bucket. It's really good. Get it all together. It's all digital. Excellent.
We might just launch into the questions now that people have been asking. Like we said, we got so many. Thank you so much for helping us in this regard. So from here, I think, Dan, you wanted to talk about...
Yeah, so we've got a great question.
Digital marketing.
I think from a student, which is excellent. I still think it's good. What should digital marketing students take away? And I think it's a good time to sit down and say, what is good about digital marketing and why is it so prevalent now? Obviously, we're all online a lot, but largely it comes down to the data that you can receive. Digital marketing gives you demographic data, age, gender, income in some instances. It's a bit of a scary one.
What keywords bring you in the most conversions? That kind of data is something you can't get from any other historical marketing.
You never get to
platform.
see who's seen your billboard or where they've searched it from or whatever. You don't get that type of information from traditional media. So it's data. But the other great thing about digital is because we have so much data, we're actually able to do a lot of what we call A/B testing, which is testing one thing and another thing at the same time and going, which one worked better? And then,
I think you just answered Robert's question.
I was just about to go, what is that? So basically it's a comparative analysis.
100%. And then what we would do is whichever one was the correct option to go with, we would then move forward with another variation of the successful test. And then we can do that till the cows come home, and we often do that.
So A/B testing.
Exactly. That's right.
An example would be having a different color button for your call to actions, right? So in one test we're going to have a red button, and another test we're going to have a green button. Measure it for a certain amount of time. If it's by far and obvious that the red button gets more clicks, then that would prove the hypothesis that having the red button there is the right way to go about it. So basically you're just continuously testing and improving on your results.
Yeah, and I think it's really important to say that digital marketing works differently for everybody. So we can't use these too broad a stroke, I would like to say. And that's why the A/B testing side of it is quite important and really required for every business these days in the digital space.
How often should you be looking at it? And I know you're going to say all the time.
All the time, always.
But I mean,
you answered your own question.
Comes back to like changes in seasonalities or as opposed to your numbers that you're getting in, if there's a drop in change.
The A/B testing is an interesting one because it's actually not continuous, thankfully. What it is, you need to sit down and get enough data. So if you've got like 5 users who come through your website in a day and you only run your A/B test for 1 day, your sample size is far too small. You need like a fair amount of users to actually come in before you can make those comparisons. And then of course you've landed it on the nose right there. I'll use the flowers analogy again because I think it's an easy one.
It's a good one.
In February, your conversions will spike. It won't necessarily be because you changed the button from red to green. It could be more behind it. So sometimes we recommend running for at least a month. But if you do have less traffic, you'll need to extend that period for longer. The longer it is, in theory, the less seasonality has to play with it because you sort of inadvertently capture the seasonality throughout the process.
Okay. Well, I hope that explains that to everyone.
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird one, but anyway. Shall we continue?
Great, we shall continue. We've got lots of questions similar to this type of question. So how do I get more traffic to my website? It's a hard question to know without knowing what marketing platforms you're trying at the moment, but we can talk kind of high level about how you get more traffic to a website in general. So there's these 5 different ways that you can get traffic to your website. So it's through organic listings, which is all of the search results that appear under the paid ones at the top. So you normally have a Google ad 3 or 4 results, you have the maps, and then the organic listings are underneath. And so organic listings are the results that tend to be influenced by search engine optimization. And I'll talk a little bit more about how to get better SEO in the next slide. Another way to get traffic to your website is through paid platforms. So by using Google AdWords, it's really effective to just get quick wins, right?
Yeah,
generally.
And get on the first page.
Get on the first page at the
exactly
top.
What you want,
yeah.
Without having to rework all your content on your website, which is always a plus.
Correct. You can get traffic to your website through social media. We're going to talk a little bit more about social media further down the line. Referral traffic, so that refers to other websites that have your website listed on it. So it might be TripAdvisor, it might be Yellow Pages. Yeah, Facebook.
Can even be one.
Yeah.
Sort of one of those mixed bucket
sites,
but anyway.
Yeah. And direct. So direct traffic is people that normally already know your business, or traffic if you're doing a billboard or if you're doing a newspaper advert, people already know your website, so they type it in direct into the browser. So
that's right.
Those are all the different types of way to get website traffic.
We're going to break down how
we can unpack it a bit more.
Yeah, we're going to break it down in a few moments about how we can utilize each thing to benefit. I think broadly we should always be looking at digital marketing and traffic in general. It's a bit like investing. If you're getting all your traffic through organic, you should be putting more time into organic and building out your content. If paid media is really working for you, and the dollars you're spending on the keywords is worth it, just keep going there. But it's about finding that mix. You're never going to have one platform just work for you, and I really recommend that's not a sustainable way of working. You want to get a couple of things working for you.
So with all these really good tools.
Yeah.
Like as a business, and how do I get my head around that to get that data? Where do I get that from? Is that where you guys come in?
Yeah, we do.
Well, we use data platforms like Google Analytics and Google Search Console. Those are some of the places that we can find this type of data. So if you have an analytics account, you'll be able to see that all of these traffic channels are in there, and you'll be able to see whatever 60% comes from organic. 5% comes from paid media, 5% comes from referrals. So you can actually measure how much of your traffic is coming from where, which can help guide where you should be investing your future marketing decisions. You can also see in analytics where your inquiries are coming from. So whether it's coming from organic traffic, which probably means you should be doing a bit more SEO, or if you're getting paid media. Dan's always plugging paid media because he's a paid media expert. But
it's really good. One caveat to that, of course, is yes, Google Analytics is the place we would find 95% of this data. It's free. Obviously, it's run by Google, so it's best in its class. Some of you may be using other tools like Adobe Analytics, which is same but different. But I think the number one thing, of course, is setting up those tools correctly. Because you can use them out of the box and they work, don't get me wrong, but if you do want to track those conversions, you do need to set it up. And
how easy is that?
Oh, I wish it was easier.
Okay, I think we just went mute there for a minute.
I pushed the button then, so apologies, guys.
I blame you, Robert.
I'm all hands.
So the next question is how to get more conversions for the website.
So how to get more conversions, it's quite simple. All we do is we have to get the traffic first. If you don't have traffic,
starting point.
We can't do anything. If you've got 0 people on your website, surprise, surprise, you will not convert. The next thing we really need to do is something we call UX design. And I've put brackets in there, CX. I apologize in advance for our
technical lingo.
Our use of acronyms.
That's why I'm here, guys, because I'm going to say I have no idea what that is.
So UX, just obviously, Rob, just for you and I, of course. No, but
of course.
UX design is what we call user experience design. So what it broadly is, how do the users feel when they go through your website? Do they know what to do next? Do they know how to contact you? Is the content speaking to them?
Yeah.
Even to the level of, when I look at this website, do I like what I see? And does it make sense for me as a user? Like, if I am say I am 18 years old and I look at a retirement village, it doesn't really make sense for me as a user. It's not designed for that. If I'm looking at adventure sports, but I'm I'm not an adventurous type of person, it still might inspire me to be adventurous when I see imagery that matches that.
It just depends on what's there that sells.
Yeah, correct.
And even your website photography, I mean, if you are an adventure sports person, but you've got a picture of a plant as your main banner image on the site, that's not speaking to who you are as a business.
And I suppose adventure sport, if you've got a video
of
what you're doing,
100%.
Sells.
It does.
The whole time.
Yeah. Keeps people on the site, keeps them engaged, gets them to learn really quickly about who you are as a business and what you do.
And I think in our industry, seeing, having the destinations in video, and we've got our overseas visitors sort of looking at that, it brings in that experience and it sells it.
Yeah.
And they think, oh, I've got a book on that.
Exactly. And then it leads them to the next part of UX, which is also about refining your conversion points. So say you have to fill out a form, and that form has 3 spots: name, phone, message, hopefully an email maybe.
Yep.
Done. Simple, clean, I can get my booking sorted just like that. But then sometimes we have the problem where we want too much information, and it turns our users away. So these sort of things, we just need to monitor. Of course, and everybody listening, you'll have this in the back of your mind. Obviously, the less information you capture, the less potentially qualified the lead will be. So there is a middle line between operational efficiency for you guys and getting the information you need versus what users are willing to try. So again, coming back to the thing I said at the start, it's a good chance for an A/B test.
Yeah, for sure.
Finally, and this is something we often leave out, is the tracking component. This is somewhere I love to play in, and I did get a good question about iframe tracking, which we'll leave for another time. It's a bit complicated for now.
That's like an Instagram thing.
Oh my goodness, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. But in short, the tracking component is what registers your conversion. So if at the end of the day your tracking is set up incorrectly, you may not be recording conversions that are coming through. Or worse, in my opinion, is the opposite, that your tracking is set up wrong, but it's telling you that you're getting conversions when you're not, which affects your business decisions.
Yeah.
A common example of that is when you're typing in on a form and you hit that submit button. Some tracking, we just put it on the button itself, but then the person didn't put in their email properly or whatever it may be, and it didn't actually pass through. And you're like, yeah, my AdWords is doing great, but why am I not seeing these leads in my inbox? So, again, as part of Webfirm, we go out and this is the first step. Make sure your tracking's good before we can check the data.
If it's actually the user that's actually doing a typo, how do businesses pick that up? Just as they're tracking.
So what we would do is we just make sure that it only fires when a successful fires being activates. I should say. I think activates is a better word. It only activates when the user successfully submits a form. So not when they make a mistake. So for example, if you put a phone number in an email field, your form should pick that up and say, oh, look, that's not right. At which case, it shouldn't be a conversion. Unfortunately, and we've all seen it, someone does, .com instead of .com or something like that. There's only so much we can prevent. But
we got the computer says no.
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. You call that 04 number and it doesn't work. Look, that's still part of it, but at least that's why we usually recommend, we'll talk about it in landing pages later, 2 forms of contact. So you can always, back yourself. There might be a second chance to give someone a call or an email.
Yeah. I suppose at the crux of it, the way to get more conversions to a website is to make it really easy to find your contact points on the site as well. So have a phone number really clearly displayed.
Yeah, right in that top right-hand corner. It's beautiful.
Make it easy for people to find your contact page and make it easy for people. Have a quick inquiry form if you need to.
And I suppose, and it's something that I actually got picked up, reducing the amount of clicks you've got to go through to get to what you want. There's nothing worse than going to a web page, clicking it, and then they go, click this to go to there, then you go to here.
You're just going to lose people.
And you're going to come back again and you think, I'm over that.
Yeah.
So
make it easy.
Make it easy.
Yeah.
So you can, so people can get that information about, your product, really.
Yeah.
All right, let's try and fire through these. So the next topic that we're going to be covering off here, we got loads of questions about search engine optimization.
I was thinking Lady Gaga would have been a better person.
We did have this discussion in house. I think I lent on Elvis.
Or Kylie.
Or Madonna. Very topical at the moment.
I think Australian, actually.
True. Okay, so a few people asked us how you get found in the Google Maps results. Very good question. We get it all the time.
Yeah.
It's about, kind of engaging with the platform itself. So encouraging your customers to post reviews. It's all about reviews in this day and age, right?
Goodness, yes.
What your star rating is.
And importantly, it's also about you as a business replying to them.
Definitely, yeah.
Users these, I don't know about you, I'm guilty of this, but often when I see someone with a, say a 4.1 or something like that, I look at the 1-star review and I go, oh, they replied to it. And that person, look, they really shouldn't have given them that 1-star review. Yeah. They seem like a reputable business. I'm going to go out and still interact with them.
Yeah.
I find that, I know when I've rated people, either through TripAdvisor or things like that, and I think it's so important. And I think when the business replies back and either thanks you for the review, whether it's positive or negative,
correct,
because it's feedback to you to know how you're going.
Yeah.
And it's instant.
Yeah.
So you find that out, and I think that kind of review is so valuable to businesses. And I value when I'm doing a review and someone gets back to me, but I can also see the previous reviews, there's been some action on, even on the negative ones.
Yeah.
And I think this business really cares about their customers.
And you've actually touched on something even more deep there, which is something that Google does really well, is weeding out a real reply from you as a business, which is, thank you so much, Rob, for what you've said here. Sorry for the actual experience, and they talk about the experience you had. This is what we're doing to fix it. Versus, thanks for the inquiry. Thank you for the review and something later like that.
It makes you as a business real.
Yeah.
And it sort of makes you think, for the customer, thinking, you know what? I think they're really good. They've actually come back. I didn't enjoy my experience, so they've come back and said, look, sorry about that. We're going to move on.
Yep.
We're going to do this, and it makes you want to return.
Absolutely.
And that's what we want. We want returning customers.
Yeah.
The other way that you get found in the maps is kind of influenced by SEO as well.
Yeah.
So you've got to be relevant for the query that people are typing. Unfortunately.
Yeah, you can't.
Unfortunately.
You can't be. I've done a TV shop, I think, is what I put into this review. You'll notice that Webfirm's not on that list because we don't sell TVs. It sounds silly, but no one goes to Google and types in green banana and expects to find a yellow banana. Do you know what I mean? You need to get the search query that matches.
Yeah.
Because that's something I use often is I'm out and I'm thinking, where's the nearest coffee place?
Yes, it's very good.
And it's GP, especially with maps, especially.
Yeah.
And it sort of highlights that. How do people prioritize in that kind of search?
So the way that you get, I think the first step is how you get found in that type of search.
Yeah.
So first of all, it starts with content. You obviously have to be a coffee shop and provide that type of service.
Yeah.
The second thing, and this might get a little bit technical a bit fast, but something called Schema, which is just code that Google helps organize effectively. So you can say that your business is specifically a coffee shop. And then when you type in coffee shops near me, Google goes, oh, that website has that schema on there. It says it's a coffee shop. I'll put them in the results.
Yep.
The other thing, which is something you can't really control, is locality to a degree.
Yeah. You've got to be local to the person who's typing in the query.
Yeah, so you're not going to show up.
In the tourism, so we've got visitors here on their phones. They're going to use Google Maps.
Yeah.
They're going to say, what attractions are nearby. So, where's the nearest aquarium kind of thing?
Yeah.
Or attraction. What are the top attractions?
Yep.
Yeah.
In Melbourne. How do businesses sort of get into that?
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
It's more of the general SEO space, unfortunately. So local and we call it general, but like the normal organic listings, they play together.
Yeah.
So again, your content needs to be centered around that type of thing.
It's very rare that you'll be found in the maps results if you have no reviews and a really poor SEO strategy.
Yeah.
Google's going to look at the number of reviews you got and reward you, and look at your SEO strategy and reward you for maps results as well.
Yeah.
So they tie in hand in hand. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Sort of a nice segue into actually how you do normal SEO as opposed to
It is a nice
local.
segue. We've
Almost
followed...
like it's planned.
Almost.
There's three components to SEO.
So someone asked the question, we've seen a decline in organic traffic. So just to clarify, organic traffic, what does that mean, Robert?
Basically, it's nothing to do with bananas or oranges.
No,
correct. So organic traffic is the traffic that appears underneath the adverts in the search results.
Yeah.
So historically, people tend to click them more because people don't like clicking ads as much, although now Google's making it a bit harder to know what the ads are.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's kind of three different areas of SEO. It's on-page SEO, which is optimizing the content on your website.
Mm-hmm.
Off-page SEO, which refers to backlinks and making sure you're being found on other websites pointing back to you. It's almost like a vote of confidence that
absolutely.
people have trust in you as a brand.
Yeah.
And it's also kind of the hardest part of SEO to influence.
Yeah.
And then there's technical SEO, which is things like making sure that your website is secure with an SSL certificate. It's mobile optimized.
Yeah, big one.
That Google can crawl it properly by having an XML sitemap.
Yeah.
The schema markup is one thing. There's
all
hundreds of things. Yeah.
And it all plays together, I think, is what's really important.
Yeah, website speed is also another really important
one.
part of technical SEO. So Google tends to keep a lot of the cards close to their chest about what is a ranking factor, but they've come out and blatantly said mobile speed is something that you'll probably be penalized on if you don't have a fast site and someone else does. They're going to rank higher than you. So make sure your site is fast.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's a really good point because I mean, even if you find that you're 4 down, and then you click on it and it's sort of spinning, and you've got the circular.
Oh my goodness!
And you think, get out of that. Let's go up.
You do, yeah.
And even though the words might be more appealing to you, the actual speed of it is annoying. And these days, we need good.
We live in a fast-paced society. We want instant, quick information. If it takes longer than 0.1 of a second, get out of here.
Yeah. Even on the NBN nowadays.
Yeah, true that. So I suppose to answer the question why you've seen a decline in organic traffic, I don't know what your SEO strategy is.
Well,
if you have one, we can kind of work with you and just give you a phone call and understand what's going on at the moment.
Just a quick recommendation for the person who's asking this question is you would have had a tool, hopefully you've had a tool that's on your website called Search Console, which is something you can Google. I recommend everybody who's on this call right now to make sure you've got that set up for your website. What it actually tells you is what queries or what things people type into Google that you get shown for, what you get clicked on, whether there's any issues with your website.
Yeah.
It's just a good place to start. Now, sort of ciphering through that data is a bit of a pain, to be honest. And usually what you'll find if you've seen a decline is a particular keyword you used to be in position 1 for might have changed to position 2, and you're getting less clicks as a result.
Yeah, so maybe your competitors are spending more in the SEO space and they're starting to outrank you.
Yeah, pushing a particular angle.
That's a good tool that people can actually start with.
Yeah.
And it's simple, and it's a good way to sort of measure where things are going.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's the best place to start. The other thing is just to really make sure that your site is up to date, it's fast. These sort of things do play in as algorithm updates come out. There's been, the last 2 that we mentioned were of 2 weeks ago, but since then Google would have released at least some minor little updates in the search results lately. So look, we do just want to make sure that you're keeping an eye on the keywords that matter for you.
Yeah.
Make sure your content's around those keywords.
Yeah.
And just have a little bit of a look and a play. Again, reach out to us if you want some help with that because we know what we're looking for. I think it's the right way to put it. But it tends to be that keyword.
Yes, and actually someone asked a question, are blogs important for websites? So I think it's worth kind of quickly talking about that while we're talking about on-page SEO. So we do think blogs are important.
Oh, absolutely.
Once the on-page content, so once the content on your website is fully optimized, we do encourage blogs. A good way to use blogs is to tap into the types of queries that people are asking, perhaps in the the start of the buyer's journey when looking into your product or service. So quite often people don't just type in Adventure Park Melbourne. They'll type in, what can I do with the kids on this sunny Saturday? And that's called a long tail keyword. And so we recommend that you, to have a bit of a competitive advantage, you write blogs answering questions or the top typical questions that your business gets. And if you answer that question and it has some search volume behind it, your blog, in theory, should appear. And it's worth mentioning, years ago, blogs used to be 200-300 words. That's not really going to cut it anymore. You need to have a good amount of content. Well, no, they need to be longer form, good quality pieces of content with videos, infographics, make them compelling pieces of content, and then you can also share them on your social media platforms.
There used to be a holy grail number of like 339.5 words, that's no longer really the case.
Because everyone's kind of doing it now, right? So you need to work harder to be rewarded with ranking.
Yeah, it comes down to writing good content that matters to your users.
And it comes back to that marketing bit of how do I attract people to read this? So it's going to make sense to them and also to make use of my product.
So
awesome. All right. This is Dan's favourite topic, so we've got to try and keep him speaking for less than 2 hours on this topic.
Promise I won't talk.
Have you got the stop clock on?
Yeah, let's do it.
Now, excellent. Look, a lot of people have asked about how to optimize towards Google Ads. And look, I think it's important to start with why Google Ads works for Google. We have to understand that they get most of the revenue through this place, and they get it through clicks. This lovely graph, which I all wish was like a year-on-year profit margin for everybody, it keeps going up. This is what happens with Google. Every time someone clicks, they get more money. It's the only, 95% of the time, it's the only thing that gets them the finance. If you convert or not, does not matter to Google. They obviously like you to.
They still get the revenue,
They still get the revenue, but they'd like you to stay there. So it's important to first understand that you have to try and battle with Google a little bit because they're going to want you to get more clicks instead of more conversions. So you need to, whenever you're looking at your campaigns, always look for those conversions instead of the clicks. That's
it comes back to what we were talking to before. Too many clicks to get to the actual end product.
Well, more about having keywords. Say I have Adventure Park, you mentioned before, versus that long tail keyword. I might get 1 million clicks. It costs a lot of money, but I get 1 million clicks for Adventure Park and get hardly any conversions. Whereas I might get only 5 clicks for the, what do I do with my kids this school holidays, and I get 5 clicks and 4 conversions for that. So it's about optimizing the money and the way that you spend it on the particular keyword. It's a bit like investing in property. Pick the right neighborhood, pick the right thing, and it'll work well for you. The other thing I've just mentioned here as well is every year, more and more people flock to Google Ads.
They do. It's getting more and more expensive, more and more competitive.
30% every year, roughly, it'll get more expensive to get the same results. So it's very important.
It's probably an upward trend because Google are just trying to make it more of a seamless experience. People, ideally, Google don't even want to have the word ad on the ads, right? They just want people to click those ads.
So as a business, I'm a business and I want to use Google Ads. What are we looking at, like outlay? Because it's just another cost to me. And is it gonna be a real benefit to me?
It's the hardest question from a get-go point of view. So when you haven't done it before, it's so hard to pick.
You don't have data to back up your decision.
So what we usually do, I'll maybe instead of answering that question directly, because it really depends.
It's like how long is a piece of string?
Yeah, exactly. What we usually do is we sit down with a client and we would go, we look at your organic listing and try and find some keywords where, maybe you're at the bottom of page 2 and it would be beneficial if you're at page 1 and see how that works. We do have tools at our disposal that tell us how much it sort of costs per click on these certain keywords, and we map out a campaign. So we say, well, we assume this word will get this many clicks and it costs this much to click on the word, therefore we get your cost. We would recommend that you invest a fair bit, at least at the start, so a couple $1,000s to begin with, and then you can sort of tailor that as you get your campaign more and more optimized.
Well, I think that's fair because again, with marketing, it is expensive, but it is tailoring, and it's just knowing where to start. So
of course.
When people do start in their business and want to start with, how do I market this? How do I get my website up? Where do I go with this? Are these ads going to be beneficial?
Exactly.
It's just a couple of $1,000. It's a small amount. And as you grow, it's going to get bigger.
Yeah, and I've worked personally with clients that have a ridiculous budget, we'll just say it at that, and clients with a small one. It's just about making it worth your while. Check how much dollars it costs you to get one conversion. You get one conversion for $10. Let's keep putting money in ads. That's a great result. Maybe you sell something that's $50, but or you're paying $100 per conversion. That's not cost effective at all. We would change the strategy to fit. So that does lead us on to the next question, which is about reviewing your campaigns. How do you internally look at it? And I've broken it broadly down to these 5 points. Number one is know your objective. If you want traffic on your website, don't look at conversions, because they're two separate things.
Yeah. And likewise, if you want conversions, don't focus on clicks.
Oh,
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, you want to make sure your cost per conversion is good, or your cost per click is good, whichever one you're worried about.
Yeah.
Look, there is a place to cross them every now and then, but just be careful of it, because you just confuse yourself, to be honest with you. The next thing is, in Google Ads, we have something called broad match, which is where people type in similar words to the keyword that we're looking up. So you might have blue shoes. Blue sneakers would be similar. Blue Oxfords, that'd be terrible color, but they're
blue
similar.
Suede shoes.
Blue suede shoes. Who knows? These sort of words are quite interchangeable for Google, and when we put that into our campaigns, we run the risk of bidding against a word we may not sell. So I may only sell blue suede shoes, but I put blue shoes as a broad match, and I get people coming to my website for blue sneakers. I don't even sell blue sneakers. How am I going to get that to work? So you have to be quite
You get so much wastage. Your ad gets shown for so many keywords that aren't relevant.
So be specific. I mean, I think it actually comes back to the first point. Know your objective.
Correct. Exactly.
Of what you want to look at.
Yeah.
And then be specific in what you want.
So you would recommend exact match?
Yeah, I recommend exact match.
So there's 3 different types of matching you can do when you're setting up your AdWords campaign. So there's broad, phrase, and exact.
Yeah, so exact match is great. Broad match is good if you don't know what you're marketing towards. So if you just want to try and get some data around what other people might be searching, I tend to do a campaign that'll have both broad and exact, and just be very careful with what I broad match. What we would then do after we have any campaign is check what people actually clicked on an ad for, and that's point number 3 there. Check the search term report.
Yeah.
If you're working with an agency, just ask them for that. It is in the Google Ads platform.
Yep.
I think you click on keywords and then there'll be search terms.
Yeah.
Very easy to find.
It's really interesting because you see the strangest keywords that you wouldn't even think that you might be found for, but people actually click. So it's just extra data to back up.
It reminds me of a trip that I had at Mona, actually, and they've got a waterfall, and it was all the keywords from Google.
Oh, really?
That people do.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
It's a plug for Mona.
Yeah. There you go.
And our CEO is coming up for our conference, actually. So just a quick plug for our conference.
That's it's going to be great.
But anyway, moving on. But so keywords.
Yep. So have a look at the search terms and find out what people are clicking on based off what they actually typed into the search query.
And importantly, you need to find words that you do not want to be found for, because this will come up in your campaign. Sometimes something comes up, you go, oh, geez, I don't sell that product, or that's not the type of people I want to have on the website. That doesn't match what I'm selling. I'm wasting money by putting in too much. Say you're doing a cost per click. I saw a cost per click of $100 recently. Oh, that's ridiculous. I would never want to look at that for one of my clients, right? So what we would do is we would put a list together of words we just do not want to be found for. And that's point number 4 there, utilizing that negative keywords.
And so you go into the negative keywords tool in AdWords and just literally fill it in. So what are examples of negative keywords?
Some really common ones I like is DIY, jobs, because you're probably using another job board for that. There are just some inappropriate sort of explicit
abbreviations
that
are not clear.
Yeah, abbreviations can be good sometimes, but you just take it with your individual campaign.
Yeah.
And I suppose it's got, again, we use, within all different industries, we do use a lot of different abbreviations.
Oh, of course, yes.
And even in our own industry, in the tourism industry, but what we're actually marketing towards is actually the visitor.
Correct.
Yeah. And we have to make sure that our language is actually clear to them, so they know what they're searching for and how they can get to you as such. So
so if you're a premium hotel and you're being found by looking in the search terms that people are typing in cheap hotels and you're being found for the word cheap, you could go and put the word cheap into the negative keyword list,
that's a great word.
and then you won't be shown anymore for cheap because you don't want to be associated, or you don't want to be found by people searching for cheap.
You're not going to win in that argument either. If you're premium and they're looking for cheap, they're going to land there and go, that's too much money, go for somewhere else. So it is about making sure that your keywords are relevant to business.
Quality instead of
quality is a good one.
You would.
Because then you would get a good variety between the premium and the cheap.
Correct.
Quality, because quality could be cheap.
Yeah.
for a hotel.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Do you want to come in and have a look at it? No.
But I mean, that's what our industry is about, because they would. No, I suppose cheap wouldn't.
Affordable might be a better word to use. Yeah.
Affordable and quality, because you've got families can't afford the premium kind of thing, and if we are looking at the accommodation industry, they want to provide good quality accommodation. That's reasonably priced to attract people to their destination.
Yeah, of course. Sure.
So I think that's an important point, actually.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I'm getting conscious of time, so I feel like
I might skip the last one because it's just make sure your landing pages are good. This one's a lot of math, but I just wanted to show this. This is how Google connects all the dots.
So this is related to Google Ads,
this
right?
This is Google Ads, but look, broadly it works on every single paid media platform, including Google, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, every platform. But every single one starts at the very top. We've got impressions. Every single platform will record how many times your ad is shown, how many times it's clicked, how much it costs, because of course that's how they get their revenue, and finally whether or not they converted. The next row there is another list of calculated fields. These are fields that Google goes and, you've got some clicks, you've got some impressions, we can estimate how often you were clicked on, what percentage of time that was done. So I won't go through it in detail. I've got a little box in the corner, in the left-hand corner there, which has sort of some quick math around what click-through rate, which is clicks divided by impressions, how you get conversion rate, and so on. It's very simple math, but when you see a reduction in click-through rate, for example, you know that you only need to look at clicks and impressions, because only one of those things would have changed. When you're looking at changes in costs, your CPC either went up or your clicks went down. That could be something that happened. And it's just about not getting caught up in the calculated stuff, but the things that are the raw data from Google's perspective. So that's that top row there. It's a bit technical. I'd highly recommend a chat with anybody who wants to walk through this one.
That's whoa.
It makes sense when you have a chat about it, but
it just goes to show there is so much data at your disposal in the Google AdWords platform. No, it's not. And just knowing how to use it to your best capabilities, and I think this is good. But maybe if this doesn't make sense and you want to unpack your AdWords campaign in a bit more detail, feel free to contact us. Someone asked for some tips on how to convert AdWords. Should we just run through the best practice?
Yeah, none of this will be rocket science for a lot of us, but I think it's important to clarify. Not getting a good view of what I wrote here, but I've got an example of one of our landing pages on the side, but it's largely be clear. What are you selling? Why should I be interested? That's basic marketing, right? Provide multiple chances for people to get in touch.
Yeah, so that comes back to the clear call to action. Yeah. So make it really easy for people to get in touch with you.
Exactly, and a phone call and a form. Good place to start, because some people don't want to call, some people don't want to fill out a form. Simple. Show credibility if it's required. For us, we just use our own brand. We're a bit rebellious like that, but anyway, if you work with other people.
Yeah, if you've got a TripAdvisor badge that you want to put on your rating.
Tourism awards.
Yes, sure.
It's always a good one.
It is actually.
All that we do at VTIC. Is a good one to be in. It's one of those benefits of VTIC membership.
Yeah. It just helps people feel that they're going to be dealing with a trusted business, if they've got all those extra accreditations.
And I think the last two that are quite important is enticing your users with some type of offer always helps. We use the word free quite a few times on our landing page because it's quite important.
People love free things.
People love free things. Goodness gracious, if I could pay nothing for something, I'd definitely grab it. The last one, which is more from a, again, it leads back to that first discussion we had about conversions. What's the barrier to entry? Do I want a really long form in order for people to sign up and succeed with this? Or do I want to just make it nice and small so that they can get that conversion?
To encourage people just to quickly fill out their details and submit the form.
That's right. Yeah. Rather than putting in your tax file number and your address and then every other thing, you don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So these are the basics of how it helps. The truth of the matter is it comes back down to the A/B test, everyone.
Yeah.
Test, and test.
Yeah.
What works for Webfirm won't work for the next business across the road, not even in our own space. It's very different based on the clientele. Yeah. So try different ideas, do smaller landing pages, do longer ones, and so on.
Yeah. And I think just make it relevant. So if people land on your homepage from an ad, it's not best practice, and they'll have to look around and find what they're actually looking for in the first place. So make sure when they click on your ad, it goes to a page dedicated to what they're expecting to see, and don't make it hard for them to find what they were expecting. For. Yeah, exactly.
That's right. No,
reduce the number of clicks.
I think that's a good point.
Yeah.
And this is a big one, because a lot of people sort of say with social media, I haven't got time.
Oh, goodness.
We had so many social media questions, and we've tried to just kind of lump them all into one slide, best practice. So I think the main thing we want to communicate is that social media is free. Anyone can do it, but not everyone knows how to do it properly. And there are some free kind of best practice things that you can go about to make your page more useful. So it's all about brand awareness, right? Like, don't just post content all like promoting your latest product or your service. Like, your audience is going to get so board of just seeing you promoting yourself.
Yeah, but what also in the same breath, you also don't want just pictures of you and the team getting coffee every week. You know what I mean? You need
it's a fine balance.
Spice up.
Yeah.
And look, coming back into the tourism industry, people want that immersive experience.
Yeah, correct.
And real.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I suppose it was one of the points we talked about earlier is, creating a video to describe your product.
Yeah, well, we've mentioned it.
Or an experience with that.
Yeah.
Sorry, I jumped ahead.
That's okay.
We've
You've hit the nail there.
Sort of a tourism-y sort of route. I've used the Australia Instagram. Which is one of my favorite Instagram accounts that exists. It's brilliant.
Is it really?
Oh, I love it. The engagement,
the photography is amazing.
The photography is amazing. But on top of it, it's not them going out and taking that photo.
No.
It's people submitting it. So something that I really recommend, particularly for the time poor businesses that you might be in, get a hashtag that is just for you. Have your presence online in a clear tagging way. So what I mean by that is have a very nice display name. I think it's the right way to put it, to be platform agnostic, that people can tag in their Instagram stories. And when they do, reach out to them and say thank you. I'll share a personal story. I was in Daylesford. I went to the cider brewery up there with my wife, and it was a beautiful day. So my wife thought, why not? Let's make our friends jealous and take a little bit of a video.
Yeah, that's why you do it.
That's why you do it. And we posted up our video. We tagged the location because it's a good thing to do.
Yeah.
And then we got a message and said, hey, thanks so much for that. We're going to post it on our Instagram now because we're going to show that people came here. But we want to give you 10% off next time you come by. And brilliant way to do it. And here I am telling now 30, 40 people to go to Daylesford, right? Effectively. And it's one of those things that
Oh, it is.
It's beautiful. Experience is something that's so needed on these sort of social platforms. You want to be immersed in something. You want to see everything. And video plays into that. Beautiful photography plays into that. But really importantly, your users play into that as well.
Yeah.
And you are seeing, real people. So from if visitors are actually posting about your business or about your experience, they're obviously enjoying it. Yeah. And it's something that if you can respond to, they can say, hey, I did this, and they responded back. They actually recognized my Instagram, whether they retweet it, repost it, or whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
And that's great for you, because when it's reposted, there's more people that are going to see it.
Yeah, that's correct.
Absolutely. We've put in here that I suppose it's worth noting that your own page is for your current audience.
Yeah. So
that's probably why it's not worth doing promotions all the time. But if you wanted to attract new visitors and new likes and new followers, do some paid. With social media, it's not overly expensive, is it?
Cheap. Yeah. Cheap.
And it's a good way just to, you can create really targeted audience of people who have certain likes, who like similar businesses to yours, and get your brand out there that way. I think someone asked a question along the lines of how do I get people to the site from social media? It's a really good question, because you don't want to just be plugging your site, you don't want to make it salesy, but it comes back to that whole content piece. So if you've got a really beautiful piece of content that gives value to people who are interested in your space, post it on your social media, put a bit of money behind it, boost it, and it will bring traffic to your site.
And don't post all the content.
Give a little taste.
Don't show all your cards.
That's right. That's exactly right. So we highly recommend get a snappy headline, a snappy bit of text underneath it, and then jump onto Bitly or link shorten a website so that people don't feel like they're going somewhere weird. And just put that at the end of your ad or the end of your post. And then when people want to, they'll go through further. Doesn't work so well on Instagram. You got to utilize the bio section, but just take advantage of that wherever you can. And then if you can put some tracking behind that, that's also a good idea, just so you can get a little bit of a sense as to how people are getting there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we could talk about this for hours.
We're actually probably running out of time.
Yes.
So
we've just put a summary here saying we've probably overwhelmed you with lots and lots of information here, but really hope you got something out of it, a few good nuggets to take away and utilize for your own marketing strategy or your own website. A few takeaways, and if you want to, here's our contact details if you want to unpack anything else in the future or have a chat about any concerns you've got.
Yeah, anything digital.
Anything digital,
we love to talk about it. Be great.
That's good. Okay. So just to remind everyone, if you haven't had a chance to see all of today's presentation, the presentation will be available on VTIC's YouTube site, which you can access anytime and you can do in your own time as such. So you can get back and see Taran and Dan's contact details. And I'd like to thank you both today for going through all of that. And
thanks for coming in here and talking with us.
It's been fun. I think we've passed our first virginal webinar.
I know. I think we're a good team. We could do it again sometime.
Yeah, that's right. Have to.
So the big thing for us is you're all probably ready to push on that book now button on the screen. So our conference is, I think, 28 days away. So if you haven't booked, it's looking great. We have some great speakers, and as I snuck in about our CEO from Mona coming up, and that's going to be amazing. But we actually have a lineup of great speakers at the conference this year. The team have really pulled together some stuff and have made some great improvements to the program and how we're doing things. It's going to be held in Geelong, down at the GMHBA Stadium, and it's going to be a fun couple of days and really good. We're expecting up to 450 of the industry people. So register today, don't miss out. Last year booked out and so many people missed out. So please get in and book soon. And I look forward to seeing you there. Please come up and say hi. If you've never met me, love to say hi to you and always happy to support you with your VTIC membership. So thanks again for today, guys.
Thank you so much. Thank you for everyone who attended.
Thank you.
And we look forward to seeing you soon.
See you later.
Bye now.
Bye.